What if the fate of an entire era hinged on a single duel? One so desperate, so brutally personal, that every step leading toward it felt like a final goodbye. Chapter 15 wastes no time dragging us straight into that reality. This chapter dives straight into that tension, pulling us into the aftermath of the previous battle as Tsurugi and Maru throw themselves into chaos for the people they love. While Tsurugi fights to save his sister from a fatal confrontation with DABURA, the story shifts to Yuka, frail, blinded, and bound by a deadly oath, being flown toward the Machio lands for a duel she may not survive. Her memories, regrets, and quiet acceptance of death set the emotional foundation for a clash that will shake the Jujutsu world. And as DABURA receives a cryptic blessing from a senior sorcerer, and Yuka invokes the terrifying Mahoraga itself, both destiny and disaster collide, promising a confrontation that will redefine what true strength really means. Oh yeah, so we can keep interacting and making the anime storytelling world even more fun together. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and drop your thoughts in the comments to keep the vibe going. Alright guys, let's jump straight into the discussion. Let's go. After the events of the previous chapter, Tsurugi and Maru immediately dive into the heart of the battle. Tsurugi is putting everything on the line to save his sister, desperately trying to stop the duel against DABURA. Meanwhile, Maru is fighting for his people, those who have nowhere else to go and are struggling to find new hope beyond the confines of space, and for his own sibling as well. The scene then shifts, focusing on the duel preparations. Yuka and Mino are shown boarding a military jet headed toward the duel site, a strange region known as the Machio Lands, where Yuka and DABURA's fight will take place. Based on Tsurugi's suspicions, Yuka is believed to have taken some kind of death-binding oath to strengthen herself, but the cost is the accelerated progression of her brain cancer. Her condition has worsened to the point where she can barely stand. Mino even has to place her in a wheelchair just to get her onto the aircraft. As the flight continues, Yuka finds herself reflecting on her childhood with Tsurugi, on all the time they spent together. She even wonders if, in another life, it might be nice if she could be reborn as the older sister. Throughout her 16 years of life, Yuka realizes that nearly everything she did revolved around Tsurugi. From thinking about which snacks he'd try to snatch first, teaching him tricks so he wouldn't get caught cheating in games, to consistently helping him with schoolwork. She smiles to herself, amused by the fact that even though she is the younger sibling, she often ended up playing the role of the older one. Tsurugi was terrible at being a big brother, but somehow that was exactly what made him feel so warm in her heart. Then comes one of the most emotional moments so far. We know Yuka's brain cancer is severe, but it turns out her condition has deteriorated to the point where she can no longer see. She even mistakes Mino for Tsurugi and speaks to him with the tone of someone who truly believes her brother is standing right in front of her. Mino is stunned and can't hold back his tears as he witnesses how far Yuka's health has declined. Yuka then speaks softly, saying she forbade Tsurugi from coming not because she wanted to look strong, but because she couldn't bear to see the expression he would make while sending her off to a lethal duel like this. Yet she also knows very well that Tsurugi is the type who always tries to appear strong and do what he thinks is right. She describes Tsurugi as the kind of boy who would say a girl looks pretty without makeup. Not because he truly believes it, but because he thinks it's the right thing to say. In the end, even now, Tsurugi still doesn't fully understand a woman's heart, not even his own sister's. Yuka's thoughts then drift to an old memory, when she tried to help a friend who was attacked by an Akurio, a cursed creature even weaker than a fly head. It seems that new types of cursed spirits have begun to appear, likely because the world's overall energy has slowly been weakening. Yuka finally admitted that she once believed she could handle everything on her own. She was annoyed when Tsurugi insisted on coming with her. Yet deep down she knew that without proper preparation, her friend might have already lost his life. Memories of her older brother's kindness resurfaced, someone who had always protected her without asking for anything in return, making her realize how often she had simply received without ever being able to give back. Inside the helicopter, just minutes before jumping into the decisive duel against DABURA, Yuka managed to steady her thoughts. She found herself wondering that if she were ever reborn someday, it might actually be nice to become a younger sister again. That small thought showed how, after everything she'd been through and everything she had aimed for, she had finally come to terms with her fate. Still, Yuka didn't completely shut off her emotions. If death came for her here, just like it did for Gojo and the powerful sorcerers from an era she never even got to witness, she knew she would leave without regret. But Tsurugi was the exception. Even thinking about that boy was enough to bring tears to her eyes. A little earlier, before the helicopter arrived, DABURA had been speaking with a sorcerer who had reached the location ahead of him. DABURA initially thought this person was meant to be his opponent, but the sorcerer clarified that they weren't there to fight. They only came to talk and to deliver a blessing from humanity. This part varies depending on translation, so different interpretations are normal. But judging by their gestures, attitude, and overall portrayal, the sorcerer is almost certainly Mimi or possibly Wee Wee. Considering the presence of multiple crows, Mimi is the most likely candidate. Whoever it was, the essence of the scene remains the same. A senior sorcerer came to personally welcome DABURA. They even thanked DABURA for agreeing to participate in a duel that would shape the future of many people. DABURA, of course, was taken aback by this. The sorcerer then explained that the current generation has forgotten the meaning of true strength, forgotten what it feels like to fear something far greater than themselves. About 70 years ago, there was an immense eruption of power that shook the entire country. But afterward, everyone eventually chose to set aside their conflicts and work together, allowing peace to form. As this figure spoke, they showed 3 young children, around the same age as Wee Wee from the original cast, likely newly adopted kids. No one knows what May is truly planning, or whether this is simply a new evolution of her shadow technique. The man expressed his gratitude for DABURA's arrival. In his view, those kids had never truly witnessed the peak of real power within the jiu-jitsu world, the absolute limit the sorcerer could reach. That's why he looked forward to DABURA fighting today. It was a rare chance to reveal the genuine terror of their curse-born ancestors, the inhuman beings whose overflowing power once shook the world, so everyone could understand what true strength really meant. DABURA admitted he felt a bit disappointed when he told the sorcerer that without a worthy opponent, he wouldn't be able to display his full power. A fight means nothing if it ends before it even starts. But the mysterious figure, surrounded by a swarm of crows, vanished while assuring DABURA there was nothing to worry about. He believed the opponent arriving for this duel would be strong enough to relieve DABURA's loneliness as the mightiest being. After that figure disappeared, a helicopter crossed the sky, pulling us back to the present. Yuka began questioning Tsurugi's fate after death. But the moment her body landed in the arena and entered DABURA's range, she assumed her familiar battle stance, both fists raised, while a pack of shadow wolves and frogs howled toward the moon. Yuka apologized to DABURA before invoking the technique. 8 sword divergence, great deity Mahoraga. Her body sank into the shadows like a bottomless well. She wasn't just sacrificing most of her life for this death pact. She was deliberately summoning an additional force. Mahoraga, the legendary adaptive Shikigami, now manifesting to challenge DABURA. But Mahoraga's appearance didn't intimidate DABURA in the slightest. In a single instant, he soared into the air and unleashed a downpour of massive light spears directly onto Mahoraga. The attack pierced through Mahoraga's body, knocking him down with just one overwhelming strike. DABURA stood atop the cluster of radiant pillars formed by his technique, skewering Mahoraga and coating the arena in blood. Unfortunately, DABURA's unique ability has no name to call out. Human language can't pronounce it, as it originates from no tongue in the world. The technique was passed down within the Discanti clan. and the only known detail is that it compresses pure killing intent into a physical mass resembling condensed light. But the final page delivered an even bigger twist. Mahoraga wasn't defeated. His Dharma wheel began to turn again, triggering his adaptation process against DABURA's foreign curse technique, something he had never encountered before. No one knows what Mahoraga will become once the adaptation is complete, and that uncertainty is exactly what makes the moment so tense. That's where the chapter ends. Whether we shift back to Maru and Tsurugi or continue the clash between Mahoraga and DABURA, one thing's clear. This chapter is insane and leaves us dying to know what happens next. Thank you so much for sticking with the story till the end. If you have any questions, feel free to write them down in the comments section below. Thanks again for watching, and see you in the next one.